Deep within the vast, frozen expanse of eastern Siberia lies an engineering marvel that defies imagination: the Mirny Diamond Mine. For decades, this colossal open-pit operation carved a staggering void into the earth, becoming a symbol of Russia's immense mineral wealth. But as we peer into this man-made chasm, a critical question emerges: what is the true cost of excavating such riches? Beyond the glittering allure of diamonds, there's a complex ledger of environmental sacrifice, human endeavor, and economic dependency that demands rigorous examination. This is not just a hole in the ground, it's a testament to profound trade-offs. First discovered in 1955, the Mirny pipe quickly grew into one of the largest diamond mines globally. Its sheer physical scale is difficult to comprehend. According to geological surveys and public records from Alrosa, the Russian state-owned diamond mining company, the open-pit mine reached a depth of 525 meters. At its widest point, it spanned an astonishing 1.25 kilometers. This monumental excavation moved an estimated 350 million cubic meters of rock and earth, transforming the landscape fundamentally to reach the kimberlite pipe's treasures. Such an operation demanded an unparalleled commitment of resources. During its peak operational years in the late 20th century, the Mirny mine was an absolute powerhouse of diamond production. Reports from the Russian Ministry of Finance's Diamond Division indicated that the mine consistently yielded over 10 million carats of rough diamonds annually. To put this in perspective, some estimates suggested that Mirny alone accounted for approximately 20% of the world's total rough diamond supply in certain years. This extraordinary output cemented Mirny's, and by extension, the Soviet Union's, position as a major player in the global diamond market, challenging the long-standing dominance of companies like De Beers. The Mirny mine isn't merely a hole in the ground. It's the very foundation upon which the city of Mirny was built and sustained. Local government economic reports consistently show that the mine and its associated operations, primarily run by Alrosa, have been the largest employer in the Sakha Republic, Yakutia, region. Tens of thousands of jobs were created, ranging from miners and engineers to support staff and logistics personnel. This economic engine transformed a remote outpost into a vibrant, if isolated, urban center, providing essential infrastructure, housing, and public services that would otherwise be non-existent. On a national scale, Mirny's contribution to Russia's economy has been substantial. Economic analysts, like those at the Russian Academy of Sciences, estimate that diamond mining operations, with Mirny as a cornerstone, contribute several $billion annually to the federal budget through taxes and export duties. Diamonds are consistently among Russia's top non-energy exports. This revenue stream has historically been crucial for national development programs, infrastructure projects, and maintaining stability in various economic sectors, particularly during periods of volatile energy prices. The mine, therefore, serves as a strategic national asset. Operating the Mirny mine has always been a battle against one of the planet's harshest climates. The Sakha Republic is synonymous with extreme cold. Winter temperatures regularly plunge below minus 50 degrees Celsius, and records show dips to minus 60 degrees Celsius. Permafrost, the perpetually frozen ground, complicates every aspect of mining. According to engineering reports from the mine's early days, equipment had to be specially hardened for the cold, and even vehicle tires would freeze solid if left stationary. The logistical nightmare of operating in such conditions adds enormous expense and risk, a hidden cost often overlooked in market valuations. Beyond the cold, Mirny's remote location presents a logistical labyrinth. Access to the mine is severely restricted, primarily relying on an ice road during the frigid winter months for heavy supplies, and air transport for personnel and lighter goods. The annual thaw renders many land routes impassable for significant periods, creating a critical bottleneck for equipment, fuel, and provisions. A 2010 logistics study estimated that transportation costs for the Mirny operation were 3 to 5 times higher than for mines in more accessible regions. This inflated operational cost directly impacts the profitability and overall economic viability of diamond extraction. The most visually striking environmental cost of Mirny is the sheer scale of land disruption. The open-pit mine, a kilometer-wide crater, represents a permanent alteration of the natural landscape. Environmental impact assessments, many commissioned by Alrosa itself, confirmed that millions of square meters of taiga forest and delicate permafrost ecosystems were cleared and excavated. This leads to severe soil erosion, habitat fragmentation, and loss of biodiversity for local flora and fauna. While remediation efforts are promised, reversing such a monumental change to the Earth's crust is, practically speaking, impossible. Beyond physical disruption, the mine generated significant air and water pollution. Dust, laden with fine rock particles and sometimes heavy metals from the kimberlite, was a constant concern for local air quality, particularly during blasting operations. Environmental reports from the 1990s documented elevated levels of suspended particulates in Mirny's air. Furthermore, the massive amount of wastewater generated by processing the kimberlite ore, despite treatment, introduced contaminants into local river systems, including the Ialiak and Malaya Botuobia rivers. Tailings ponds, filled with processed sludge, remain a long-term environmental liability, as highlighted by independent ecological watchdogs. The men and women who toiled at Mirny faced significant occupational hazards. Reports from the Russian Federal Service for Labor and Employment have documented high rates of respiratory illnesses among long-term miners, attributed to dust inhalation in both open-pit and later underground operations. The extreme cold also presented risks of frostbite and hypothermia, despite stringent safety protocols. While mining officials often cite impressive safety records compared to other heavy industries, independent labor organizations have raised concerns about underreported incidents and the psychological toll of working in such an isolated, demanding environment. The human body pays a price for these diamonds. Beyond direct workers, the expansion of the Mirny mine impacted local indigenous communities. While detailed records are scarce, sociological studies from the 1970s and 80s indicate instances of forced relocation or significant disruption to traditional hunting and trapping grounds. The influx of mining personnel also strained local resources and sometimes created cultural clashes. Even in more recent times, indigenous rights groups have argued that the economic benefits of mining often bypass traditional communities, while the environmental burden disproportionately affects their ancestral lands and livelihoods. This creates a complex ethical dilemma surrounding resource extraction. The Mirny mine ceased open-pit operations in 2001, transitioning to an entirely underground mining method, a project known as MIA. This shift presented a stark set of trade-offs. The open pit, while environmentally devastating, allowed for greater scale and lower per carat extraction costs initially. Underground mining, conversely, reduced the surface footprint and minimized visual pollution, but it dramatically increased operational complexity, energy consumption, and capital expenditure. The move underground required billions of dollars in investment, as noted in Alrosa's annual reports, demonstrating a pivot towards sustainability at a significant financial premium and bringing new safety challenges. Powering an operation of Mirny's magnitude in the Siberian Arctic requires immense energy. Estimates from engineering consultants suggest that the mine's electricity consumption, particularly for heating, ventilation, and heavy machinery, could power a medium-sized city. Much of this power traditionally came from gas-fired power plants in the region, contributing to carbon emissions. While Alrosa has explored renewable energy options, the sheer scale and isolation of Mirny mean that fossil fuels remain a primary energy source. This energy dependency adds a substantial environmental cost in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, further impacting the region's delicate climate balance. Mirny's historical output dramatically influenced the global diamond market. Its consistent supply of high-quality rough diamonds helped break the long-standing De Beers monopoly on global diamond distribution in the mid-20th century. By diversifying sources, Mirny, and later other Russian mines, contributed to more competitive pricing, albeit with periods of market volatility. Analysts from Bain & Company's annual diamond report note that Russia remains a top global diamond producer, with Alrosa, heavily reliant on its Siberian assets, including the Mirny cluster, continuing to exert significant influence on supply-side economics. The true cost also includes its shaping of an entire industry. Perhaps one of the most insidious long-term costs of Mirny is its interaction with permafrost. Mining operations inevitably disturb the frozen ground, and global climate change is accelerating its thaw across the Arctic. Scientists from the Permafrost Institute in Yakutsk warn that a thawing permafrost layer destabilizes infrastructure, increases the risk of landslides at the mine site, and releases trapped greenhouse gases like methane. This phenomenon not only threatens the mine's long-term stability but also contributes to a feedback loop of climate change, a cost that extends far beyond the mine's immediate boundaries and impacts the entire planet. Even with the open pit inactive for over 2 decades, Mirny's legacy endures. The city of Mirny remains inextricably linked to diamond mining, with underground operations continuing to provide jobs and economic stability. Yet, the environmental scars persist. Remediation efforts by Alrosa, including reforestation projects and attempts to manage water quality, are ongoing, but reversing decades of large-scale industrial activity is a monumental task. The true cost is not a one-time calculation. It's a perpetual commitment to managing the consequences of such immense resource extraction for generations to come, as acknowledged by various environmental stewardship reports. The Mirny Diamond Mine stands as a microcosm of humanity's complex relationship with natural resources. It brought unimaginable wealth, jobs, and development to a remote region, contributing significantly to a nation's economy and reshaping a global industry. Yet, these benefits came at a profound cost: a colossal environmental footprint, significant human health risks, disruption to local communities, and a looming threat from permafrost thaw. As we weigh the dazzling beauty of a diamond against the Siberian landscape from which it came, the true cost is rarely simple. It is a nuanced, ongoing calculation of irreversible change against undeniable economic progress. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.